So today we're diving into a really strange case. It's a story where the evidence, the official paper trail is screaming crime, but for some reason the official response is, well, something else entirely. We've got a stolen car, a signature that's clearly faked, and a system that just seems completely frozen. So let's get right into it.
All right, so to really get our heads around this, we're going to do something a little different. We're not going to start at the beginning with the crime itself. Nope. We're going to jump straight to the end, to the final official conclusion from the state's own investigators. Why? Because I think when you see the hard evidence first, it makes everything that follows, well, even more unbelievable. Okay, so before I show you this key piece of evidence, we need to be super clear about what we're looking at. This isn't just someone's opinion, okay? It's what's called a finding of fact. And as you can see here, that's a formal official determination made by a government agency, in this case, the Washington State Department of Licensing, after they've looked at all the evidence. Bottom line, this thing carries some serious legal weight. So, picture this. It's October 2nd, 2025. Investigators over at the Washington State Department of Licensing, the DOL, they've just finished up their review of a really sketchy vehicle title transfer. They've got the file, case number 251108, right in front of them, and they've made their final call.
And after digging through all the paperwork and all the details, their final conclusion wasn't hidden in a bunch of complicated legal talk. It was actually incredibly simple and direct. You could not miss it.
And there it is. Take a look. One word, stamped in big, bold letters. Rejected. This is the state of Washington on the record saying, nope, this isn't right. They're declaring that this whole title transfer was just not legitimate at all.
So, of course, the big question is, why? Right? What was so obviously wrong with this paperwork that the state's own investigator took one look and slammed it with a rejected stamp?
Well, here's your answer. It all came down to the signature. Take a look at these side by side. On one side, you've got the signature from the title transfer document. On the other, the real owner's authentic signature. The state investigator, Steve Piper, put these two next to each other, and his conclusion was, and I'm quoting here, they were not consistent. He went on to say there was basically no agreement in style, construction, skill, alignment, or fluency. In plain English, the state concluded it was a flat-out forgery.
Okay, so now we have the smoking gun, right? The state itself has confirmed a forgery. So let's hit rewind and find out who this actually happened to. Let's go back to the beginning and meet the car's real owner, a man named Dustin Jolly.
So here's what happened from his perspective, according to his formal complaint. His Hyundai gets stolen in mid-September. He reports it, but crickets. So what does he do? He becomes his own detective. And get this, on October 1st, he finds his own car. It's parked at a casino. He calls the police for help, but then the story takes this absolutely wild turn. The responding state patrol officer shows up and refuses to recover the car. The reason they gave? That same fraudulent title transfer we just proved was a forgery.
And the impact of that decision is just devastating. This isn't just an inconvenience. In his own words, from his complaint, Mr. Jolly wrote, "I remain without my vehicle and am currently homeless and displaced." Just let that sink in. This whole ordeal didn't just cost him a car, it cost him his home.
All right, so we've heard the victim's side. Now let's look at how the authorities, the institutions, responded to all this. Because this, right here, is where things get really complicated.
And here is the core of the conflict. You're looking at two completely different stories. On the one hand, you have the Mercer Island Police Department saying in an email that this is all civil in nature. Basically, not our problem, go to court. But Mr. Jolly knew the law. He points them directly to Washington State Code, which, as you can see, is crystal clear. This isn't a civil issue. Fraudulent title transfer is a Class B felony, a serious crime.
The communication breakdown is just staggering. On one side, you have the police department claiming their detectives tried to call Mr. Jolly, and not just once or twice, but at least 10 times. But then you have Mr. Jolly's response, which is just as direct. I have not received any calls regarding this matter. So you have to wonder, what is going on here? Is this just a colossal mix-up, or is it something else? So that brings us to the person at the center of this alleged theft and forgery. Who is she? Well, the name listed in the police report is Reanna Pepper Fox, and when you look into her background, let's just say her public record is pretty revealing.
When you pull up her public records, one thing just jumps off the page immediately. It's a number, 25. That is the number of criminal and traffic records connected to her name.
But look, it's not just about the number, 25. It's about what those records are. When you start digging in, you see an undeniable pattern.
We're talking convictions for forgery, identity theft, and wait for it, failing to transfer a title within 45 days. I mean, come on. These aren't just random charges. It's like a step-by-step guide to the exact crime being reported in this case. So, let's just pause and take stock of where we are. We have rock-solid evidence of a crime from the state itself. We have a victim who's lost everything, begging for help. We have a suspect with a history that fits this crime to a T, and yet nothing. The case is just stuck. It's completely in limbo. Let's just break it down one more time. Look at how this all stacks up. The victim, he's homeless and still doesn't have his vehicle back. The evidence, the state has officially confirmed felony fraud. Law enforcement's take, they're calling it a civil matter. And the suspect? Well, she has a long history of offenses that look an awful lot like this one. It just doesn't add up. So when you put all these pieces together, the picture it paints is, well, it's pretty bleak. You've got one government agency providing clear proof of a crime and another law enforcement agency that seems to be completely ignoring it. And right in the middle of this bureaucratic mess is a victim whose life has been shattered with absolutely no end in sight.
And so, this whole story really boils down to one massive, troubling question. This isn't a whodunit. The evidence isn't murky. This is a case where the state itself looked at the facts and confirmed a felony was committed. So it makes you wonder, what's supposed to happen? What happens to people like Dustin Jolly when the system that's supposed to act on that evidence just doesn't?